How the hell did Manchester United end up this bad? At this point, it's not even funny anymore. Watching United going from a banter club to something even more genuinely depressing. This is a club that once ruled the world and the Premier League. A club built on legends, trophies and determination. And now, they've become the punching bag of European football. Mismanaged from the top and run like a business instead of a football club. And drowning in mediocrity on the pitch. So today, let's break down the embarrassing downfall of Manchester United. There was once upon a time when Manchester United were actually a great club. Under Sir Alex Ferguson, they were untouchable. 13 Premier League titles, 2 Champions Leagues, countless domestic cups. Domination wasn't just a goal, it was expected from them every season. Old Trafford wasn't a stadium, it was a fortress. And United didn't just win games, they crushed teams. But 2013 changed everything. Ferguson retired, leaving behind a dynasty, but also a gaping hole. United didn't plan for life after him. There was no transition, no clear structure, just a desperate scramble to keep the empire standing. David Moyes was handed the impossible job of replacing the greatest manager in football history. Within 10 months, he was gone. And the cracks in the club had already begun to show. Since then, United have cycled through managers: Louis van Gaal, Jose Mourinho, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Ralf Rangnick, Erik ten Hag, and now Ruben Amorim. Some brought trophies, some brought hope, but none were given the structure or support to truly rebuild. Meanwhile, the club hierarchy seemed more focused on shirt sales and sponsorship deals than actual footballing success. The fall wasn't instant. It was slow, painful, and embarrassing. A giant learning how far it can fall when greed replaces ambition. You cannot talk about United's downfall without mentioning the Glazers. Since their controversial takeover in 2005, the club has been bleeding dry. Over £1.6 billion has left the club in debt repayments, dividends and financial tricks that benefit the owners while strangling the football side. While rivals like Manchester City and Liverpool invested smartly in infrastructure, scouting and long-term planning, United chased quick fixes. The Glazers treated United like a cash cow, prioritising commercial growth over football. New ramen noodle sponsors? Absolutely. A useful and smart transfer strategy? Forget it. This ownership model created a culture where mediocrity thrived. Managers weren't backed consistently, sporting directors weren't empowered, and decisions were made by people with no footballing expertise. Ed Woodward, once described as a commercial genius, became the face of United's incompetence. Deals dragged, wages inflated, and the squad became a patchwork of overpriced stars and underperforming players. It's no wonder Old Trafford itself, once the crown jewel of English football, has become outdated, leaky, and behind modern stadiums. If you want proof of United's incompetence, just look at their transfer record. No club has spent more for less. Over £1.5 billion gone since Ferguson left. And what's the return in trophies? A Europa League, a League Cup, and a few Community Shields. That's literally it. Let's compare to Manchester City, who used that same time period to build a feared dynasty. United used it to build a bloated, unbalanced squad full of flops and panic buys. First flop was Angel Di Maria for £60 million. He was gone in a year. Paul Pogba, £90 million. Insanely inconsistent and left for free. Harry Maguire, £80 million, never justified the price tag and being actively made fun of week in, week out. Alexis Sanchez, who was a disaster with a weekly wage of £500,000. Romelu Lukaku, £75 million, shipped off after 2 seasons. Jadon Sancho, £73 million, exiled and now rebuilding his career elsewhere. And the list keeps going on ever, but I don't want to bore you anymore. But here's the real kicker. So many of these so-called flops suddenly look reborn once they leave Old Trafford. Take Anthony for example. United paid £85 million for him. Yes, £85 million. And what did they get? A handful of stepovers, memes, and a reputation as one of the biggest flops in Premier League history. Fast forward in Real Betis and he's suddenly looking surprised. Sharper and more productive, absolutely cooking defenders in La Liga, now that he's out of the toxic environment at United. And what about Rasmus Højlund? Possibly the most hated striker ever. United spent £72 million on a striker who scored just a few league goals all season. He looks like a deer on ice at Old Trafford. Then he moves on to Napoli and guess what? He scores on his debut, looking like the confident young striker United fans thought they were getting in the first place. And the most depressing keeper of all time, Andre Onana. At United, he was ridiculed weekly for errors and nervy performances. But the moment he leaves, his very first game he's man of the match. Commanding, confident, the keeper United thought they bought. Now, this is the pattern. Players don't just fail at United, the club actively makes them worse. The pressure, the chaos, and the insane lack of structure, it drags talent down. And then, when those same players leave, they remind everyone why they were signed in the first place. United didn't just waste money. They overpaid by absurd amounts for Antony, Højlund, Onana, Sancho, turned them into flops, and then watched them actually perform elsewhere. It's not just incompetence, it's self-sabotage. And the most shocking part of United's downfall is what's currently happening on the pitch. Each and every team used to fear them. Now, Grimsby Town licked their lips at the chance to face them for the free win. United's defence is literally constantly exposed, their midfield gets overrun and their attack is less dangerous than a grandma. And there's literally no clear style of play, no identity. Compare that to the pressing machine of Klopp's Liverpool or the tactical mastery of Guardiola's City. United look like a team stuck in the past, still chasing moments of individual brilliance rather than actually building a system. The mentality has collapsed too. Ferguson's United thrived under pressure, always finding a way to win. But modern United, they crumble like dry bread. Whether it's a humiliating 7-0 defeat to Liverpool, or a collapse against Sevilla in Europe, or even being outplayed by smaller clubs like flippin' Grimsby, the game is gone. The badge no longer means anything. And what's even worse is how inconsistent they've become. One week they look decently competent, the next they look like absolute strangers. That inconsistency is the hallmark of a team with no direction, no leadership, and no accountability. Ferguson's United were also built on youth, hard work, and attacking football. The class of '92 embodied what it meant to wear the shirt. A blend of local talent, smart signings, and a relentless winning mentality. Today, that identity is gone. Academy stars like Marcus Rashford have shown flashes but struggle for consistency. Others like Mason Greenwood left under scandal. The club has failed to create a pathway for young players to shine consistently, literally putting their by far biggest talent Kobbie Mainoo on the bench. And instead, they've relied on overpriced stars with no real fight for the badge. Managers have tried different approaches. Van Gaal's possession obsession, Mourinho's pragmatism, Solskjaer's nostalgia, Ten Hag's high-pressing rebuild, and Ruben Amorim's God knows what tactics. But none of it has stuck at all. Without a clear vision from the top, United have become a club of contradictions. This depressing crisis has turned United into what they once mocked clubs like Chelsea for, a banter club, a team with all the money and none of the direction. So, is there still hope for United? Believe it or not, yes, but only if United finally accepts the truth. They need a complete reset. They need to look up and notice their mistakes. And they seriously need to stop chasing profit off the club and start chasing balance in the team. Instead of spending £100 million on the next big name, invest in players who fit the system. Instead of sacking managers every 2 years, give one the backing, patience, and tools to build something. And above all, they need to rediscover what made them great. Discipline, identity, and a ruthless winning mentality. Because the truth is, United are still one of the biggest clubs in the world. The history, the fan base, the global pull, it's all still there. But history doesn't win you titles. Only vision and hard work do. But if you enjoyed this deep down of this banter club that got beat by Grimsby, make sure to like and subscribe. Since I'm currently trying to hit 200 subscribers, drop your thoughts in the comments down below and I'll catch you in the next one.